I thought things like these only happen in movies or like some crazy Alabama type of rural areas. Until it happened to me. My boyfriend and his birth sister were always extremely close. Now, come on, nobody wants to even think that it could be weird. We all usually attribute it to just being family, you know? Some families are closer than others. Some families' body language is different. Sisters hug and show affection all the time. So why shouldn't a brother and a sister? I though the world and myself were just brainwashed by corn culture. So I just brushed it off thinking I was crazy. But it started bothering me. The extreme closeness. They couldn't keep their hands off each other. When he hugged her, the hand would just be very low near the hip. They would hold hands and literally post a picture like that, not having a clue how weird it was. I still thought, well, maybe they are just close due to their trauma. Let me give you a little backstory. They were raised in an extremely conservative household. They weren't allowed to have partners. They weren't even allowed to go outside and interact with other kids. And this was happening till their late 20s. They were so scared and brainwashed that they couldn't stand up to their father. Up until he died by offing himself. Probably saw what was going down. She started coming to our apartment to help out. Since she wasn't allowed to get a higher education, she had no skills, no credentials, nothing. She got a job at a local restaurant as a dishwasher and wanted to move in with us. I was kinda opposed to it, but I felt bad because she was denied everything growing up, and I wanted her to have a chance at life. Also, she was very socially anxious since she never learned how to properly interact with people, and I thought with me by her side, she could pick up some social cues. I would encourage her to go get a cup of coffee with me, to go shopping with me. I signed her up for a gym. I even got her a therapist to work with her on her problems. I wanted her to get out of her shell, and she did. She even made some friends at the gym. One night she had a nightmare. Mind you, this girl is in her late 20s, and she came to our room and got into our bed. I didn't even notice it till next morning. I freaked out and yelled at both of them, to which he defended her, saying she didn't harm us or anything. And that's when I learned she did this their whole childhood. I was fuming and went outside for a walk. After I cooled down, I thought about it, and I felt bad for her. This girl was not infantilized. She was just stuck developmentally. Not in an IQ way, rather a social and emotional way. I explained to her that it's not really a normal thing to do. She said she was sorry. It's hard for her to accept that they're not kids anymore, and she wouldn't do it again. One Saturday morning I had a baby shower planned, and I packed up and got into my car. A few minutes later, my stomach started to hurt, and I could sense that there's gonna be a disaster if I don't pull over. I found a coffee shop and went there, and that's when I saw my period started. I was in a blue sundress, and I knew I had to do something. My period poo always chains me to my toilet for 2 days, so I didn't know what to do. It was either gonna be to go home and get changed, or just don't go at all. I rushed back home, and when I got inside, I heard bedroom noises. I thought she brought a guy over, and I was so rushed by my period that I didn't notice that the sound was coming from our room. I barged in there, and there they were, doing it in our bed. They didn't even notice me. At first, I just stood there completely silent. I was in sheer shock that I couldn't say a word. Like I just stood there for 2 minutes. It's like my brain couldn't process what I was seeing. They didn't even notice me until they were finished. Then they looked up and saw me just standing there speechless. He panicked, but it was a weird type of panic. Like, he panicked that I caught him cheating, not that it was with his sister. I still didn't say a word. It's not that I didn't want to, it's just that I couldn't. Nothing was coming out of my mouth. I just turned around and went to the kitchen to drink a glass of water and wash my face. He ran out of the room and started explaining himself, still only the cheating part, not the sister part. This added another layer to the F-tupness of the situation. It's like then I truly realized how unhinged this man and this whole family is. I just, without a word, drank my water and left the apartment. I wish I could say that it was dramatic like in the movies, that I just stormed out and never saw them again. But I had stuff in that apartment that needed to be carried out, and I had no idea how to do it. I couldn't just pay people to do it since I was broke. So I staked out when he would leave for work. And I would then get in the apartment to pick up some of my stuff. There was a lot of stuff. So I was like OSH asterisk T, I will have to come back multiple times. And when I got inside, his sister was there, because of course she's unemployed. I didn't say anything and just wanted to pack my bags. She was the one who understood, unlike him, that the cheating part is the tame one here, and that the problem is siblings' part. So she started explaining herself. I know what you think of this, and I know that it's not normal, but nothing in our lives was ever normal. We just adapted to the circumstances. We were always very close. We didn't have anyone else to take care of us. We had to do it ourselves. When I was scared at nights, I used to sneak into his room. He was my protector. We were isolated. We only had each other. And that went on for years. We grew up. We developed needs that weren't being met, and we just started to. I stopped her right there. I said I absolutely don't care. And I don't want to listen to this effed up version of Blue Lagoon. I'm here to pick up my stuff, and that's it. Now, the crazy thing was that he already packed my stuff, and I never told him to. I found that to be crazy disrespectful. I just grabbed my suitcase and left. The next day I remembered I left something important there and went to pick it up. When I got there, the lock was changed. This mf'er had the audacity to change the lock in a day. Like I was the threat to their safety? I don't know why, but I just lost it there. I started banging on the door, screaming to be let in. He was there, and he wasn't gonna let me in. I said I just want my stuff. You can't withhold my stuff from me. And he called the cops on me. When they got there, the neighbors were already in the hallway staring. I felt like a zoo animal. I felt so low, like I was the crazy one in this story. The cops asked everyone to go back inside. When they asked us what was wrong, tried so hard to make me the crazy one. He was like, I don't know. I think my crazy ex is just jealous. Like, gave her stuff yesterday. I don't know what she wants now. She's cuckoo. We even had to change the locks on our doors because we fear for our safety. I just stood there. My fight or flight mechanism is so weak. My brain just freezes for a few minutes to process what's happening, and it always costs me so much. I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was expecting to be escorted to the station, but the officer was not buying it. He started roasting him. He said, well, MS, my name, says she just wants her stuff. So what's the issue here? The ex said he gave the stuff yesterday. Then the cop said, well, it must be incomplete then. Let's go inside and help MS find what she was looking for. When we got inside, the cop asked if he could see the apartment contract. The ex reluctantly gave it to him. Both our names were on there. He told him you can't just lock someone whose name is in the contract. Did you even notify the landlord? And he said no. The ex went off like, oh, I fear for my safety. The cop said, well, why didn't you call us then? The ex said, well, I wanted to, but I didn't make it. And the cop said, well, then she wasn't much of a threat. They had some back and forth until the cop blatantly said, so you locked your ex-girlfriend out to be with your new girlfriend? And the ex kept insisting that I was dangerous. I mumbled, that's his sister. They. And I couldn't make the words come out of my mouth. The ex went off like, see, she's crazy. She is AC ***, sing me if sleeping with my own sister. And the cop just said, well, is that your sister? The ex realized that he acted way too close to her all this time. To deny that they're dating. He said, no, it's my girlfriend. The cop was not having it anymore. He said, ma'am, give me your ID to his sister. And she reluctantly did. When he saw it, he said, sir, I'm afraid I have to ask you to come with us. What for? For unlawfully denying Miss Me her housing rights and possibly uncons ***** acts with your sister. Sir, I might have to ask you to come down to the station with us to clear some things up. And so they left with the ex. I stood there for a while in silence with his sister, and then picked my things up and left. I saw a therapist's office down the street, and I took it as a sign, so I signed up for an appointment.